لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ما لنا رب سوى لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى الطيبين الطاهرين. We have still many things to cover, but our semester is coming soon to an end, so maybe sometime in future. We were talking about Quran being with God, and then we said, is the Quran created or not, or it depends on what we mean by the Quran. And we talked about the Quran being in the preserved tablet in Lawh Mahfuz. One of the things that we find in the Quran itself and in the hadith about the Quran is that to be able to have access to the real depth of the Quran, one has to be purified. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Waqi'ah verses 77 to 80, إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ تَنزِيلٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayhi comments and says, this Kitab Maknoon is Lawh Mahfuz, the same. Because we have also, Bal huwa Qur'anun Majid fi Lawhin Mahfuz. And then he says, this La Yamassuhu can be a quality of Kitab Maknoon or a quality of Quran. La Qur'anun Kareemun, which is fi Kitab Maknoon and which is La Yamassuhu illa al-Mutahharun, or innahu la Qur'anun Kareem fi Kitab Maknoon, and that Kitab Maknoon La Yamassuhu illa al-Mutahharun. Okay? But he says the conclusion is not that much different. At the end, it means that the Quran cannot be touched except by those who are purified. Either the Quran only or everything in Lawh Mahfuz. And then, what is mass touch? What does touch mean? Sometimes in the Quran, touch is used for different, meanings. For example, إذا مسهم طائف من الشيطان تذكروا. When a group of Satans who do tawaf, they go around, to do mischief. They go around to find perhaps who is not alert, then they attack him. If anyone is not alert, is not remembering, they attack him. They see there are muttaqeen who are not alert. So, إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ, when they touch them, تَذَكَّرُوا, they immediately realize that this touch was not a good touch. They become alert and they start seeing. Okay? So, here touch doesn't necessarily mean physical touch. It's a kind of contact, but not necessarily physical contact. Sometimes also touching in the Quran is used in the sense of marriage. So there are different meanings of touching. Here, La Yamassuhu illa al-Mutahharun, perhaps it means knowledge. No one would have access to that except those who are purified. It means no one would have knowledge of that, connection with that knowledge. So this can be the meaning of touching. And those who are purified doesn't mean purified from physical dirt. Or for example, they don't have hadas asghar or hadas akbar. They don't need wuzu or they don't need ghusl. Purified here means they are purified with respect to sins or with respect to love for dunya, or more generally, anything other than God. Yeah, like إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. This is not about, for example, being in need of wuzu or ghusl. Yeah, so you are not in need of wuzu or ghusl. يطهركم تطهيرا means there is nothing other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their heart. They have become pure and their heart is pure. You remember the hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Al-qalbu as-salim alladhi yalqa rabbahu wa laysa fihi ahadun siwa. Nothing other than Allah is in their heart. So those who are purified, mean those who are pure, they don't want anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They can have knowledge of the Quran which is in the hidden book, or knowledge of the hidden book in which there is Quran. Makes no difference. So, if you really want to understand the message of God, who is the purest of the pure, you have to yourself become pure, means dedicated to God. Yes?
If you want to take benefit from Quran, you should be pure, and if you are not pure...
No, we didn't say... No, we didn't say if you want to take benefit, you should be pure. We said if you want to have access to the depths of the Quran. Otherwise, those who are not that pure still can read and benefit. And by acting upon the Quran, they gradually become purified. Okay, zalimin is different from everyone who is not purified. Like normal muttaqeen, normal mu'mineen, these are not mutahhar. Okay? A person who is pious, you can say your prayer behind him. Okay, he is not zalim, he's pious. But is he mutahhar? No, mutahhar is a very high position. Those who are mutahhar, they have access to the depths of the Quran, to the hidden aspect of the Quran. Other people benefit from the surface of the Quran. You can go and learn from someone. Even maybe you can learn from a kafir. Maybe there is a kafir who teaches tafsir. He reads all the books of tafsir and puts them together, and in a very good method, he teaches tafsir. It's possible. Yeah? But this is different from touching the depths of the Quran. So, those who are purified, which are muqarrabun, those who are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their knowledge about the Quran is a direct knowledge, and they are connected to the reality of the Quran in Lawh Mahfuz. Other people, their knowledge of the Quran is through the surface, through the text and the words. They have to reflect. They may understand. Sometimes they misunderstand. But if you have that access for mutahharun, there is no chance of misunderstanding. Because there is nothing like any word or sentence that can be misunderstood. It's direct encounter with the ideas, with the realities. Yeah.
You didn't say that those who teach the Quran just based on like they take from tafsir, reading the book, they can never teach the real past message of the depth of the Quran.
Yeah. Maybe someone just speaks about that depth. It's possible, maybe 1 point, for example, 2 points is translated into the language that we use, but not really seeing the depths. Sometimes, for example, you dive into an ocean and you see the reality. Sometimes you come out and explain to other things, then another person can say, Miqdad said this. So they have some little knowledge, but it's different from going and seeing that. There is a hadith from Imam Raza alayhi salam, and similar to that, with a slight difference, is quoted from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, in which this tahara is extended to physical tahara, to ritual ablution and ritual purity. For example, Imam Raza alayhi salam says, Al-Mushaf la tamassuhu ala ghayr tuhrin wala junuban. This is what normally fuqaha also say, that without wuzu, you cannot touch the words of the Quran. Okay? But this is only surface of this ayah.
Because la yamassuhu is naf, it's not naf. So you have to say here naf means naf.
Yeah, it can be used naf, yeah. But what I'm saying is that it's because in the hadith, or the imams have extended this to physical or ritual purity. We say that there is a ruling that you cannot touch the Quran without wuzu. But if we didn't have these hadiths, what we were able to understand ourselves was about a spiritual purity, not just physical purity.
You have to say that mas here means lams. Again,
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, means touching.
But mas is different from touching.
Mask, we said before you came, that can be used in different ways. Sometimes it means touching, sometimes means another things, sometimes even mean marriage can be used for. Sometimes, like here, means knowledge. La yamassu illa al-mutahharun means knowledge.
We can understand, we can achieve. Without this hadith, you should have wuzu and pause to touch.
How do you understand?
La yamassuhu. It means that do not touch it without having.
No, la yamassu illa al-mutahharun. Mutahharun is not those who have wuzu or ghusl. It's not mutatahhirun, it's mutahharun. If it was about the physical touch, so it means that apart from some very close people to God, no one can touch the Quran.
One of the ulama said there is 8 khalaq zahir.
Yeah. Yeah. We just say it because of hadith. So those hadiths by themselves are independent evidence for saying that you should have wuzu. Otherwise, if it was only us and this verse, we could not issue fatwa that you have to have wuzu for touching. Yes.
But doesn't that mean that this is not it's not the apparent meaning of the verse? Because the apparent meaning of the verse should be understandable without hadith.
Yeah. No, it's not apparent meaning that you should have ritual purity. Yeah. But hadith is very clear. لا تمسه على غير طهر ولا جنوبا, without ritual purity, or when you are junub, don't touch the Quran. ولا تمس خطه, the writing. Even perhaps just holding is not good, although normally they don't say just holding is an issue. And then Imam said, إن الله تعالى يقول لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. So it seems that Imam wants to extend the meaning to include even physical or ritual purity. Okay, so one of the things that we have to remember as an etiquette for benefiting from the Quran is to try to be, in addition to the having, wuzu and not being, for example, in need of tahara, to purify our intention, to purify our heart. For example, if I say I want to understand the Quran, so that then I say to people, I have understood something that you didn't understand. This is not a pure intention. Or I want to say to people, I am very knowledgeable. Or I want to, for example, publish something and, have a good reputation. Or I want to get money for that. All these things become barrier for really understanding the depths of the Quran. Those who only think of God and they are God-minded, they are conscious of God, there is a chance for them to be able to understand things from the Quran that other people would not be able to understand. Yes. Maybe about one hadith, two hadiths, you can have questions and objection, but altogether this is a very established idea, and I don't think any jurist has said that you don't need wuzu to touch the Quran. So it's not wajib? Very rare, I think very odd view. The great majority have issued fatwa. Even they don't say it's mustahab, they say it's necessary. But basically my point was this, that whoever has issued this fatwa is not based on the Quran itself.
So without disrespecting Quran.
Okay, that's another issue. If there is, for example, insulting the Quran,
you want to touch Quran, but you don't intend to somehow insult or disrespect him, so it's okay.
Okay, so his fatwa is not common fatwa. So he wants to use the prohibition of insulting the Quran, ihanat al-Quran, and that insulting can happen even if you have wuzu. So even if someone with wuzu does something to insult the Quran, it would be haram. Yeah.
Because an understanding Sunni alam. It's not about wuzu, it's about the activities.
Yeah. I haven't checked to see whether Sunnis also believe that you have to have wuzu for touching the Quran or not. Maybe we can check later whether they have, like Shia, this fatwa that without wuzu you cannot touch the Quran or not. Okay, that Lawh Mahfuz or Kitab Maknoon or Ummul Kitab, these are different terms for the same reality, has the quality that everything which is going to happen or has happened in the past is somehow registered there or somehow present there. If you can have access to that Lawh Mahfuz, you know everything. In Surah Ra'd, which is chapter 13, number 39, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Yamhullahu ma yasha'u wa yuthbit, wa indahu ummul kitab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can wipe out or can leave what he wants, but with him means close to him, indahu is the mother of the book, which is Lawh Mahfuz, and that is different from Lawh Mahfuz Isbat. So if you have access to the lower level, you would see the things that may change. But if you have access to that Lawh Mahfuz, which is very close to God, of course it's close to God's knowledge, then the things are decisive. So if I just get a news from Mahfuz Isbat, there is a chance that something like Bada can happen. But if someone has access to Lawh Mahfuz, then the final decision is also there. So sometimes, you see that something has been said in hadith and then it doesn't happen. Why? Not because it was a mistake, because that was going to happen and it was in the Lawh Mahfuz Isbat, but some external factor came and overwhelmed the decision which was going to happen. For example, there is a story that once a person was going out of the town, and the Prophet said to his companions that this person, for example, is going to die or something like this. After some time, he came back and he was okay. So the companions asked, what happened? And the Prophet asked him to open his bag. He went outside to collect some wood. When he opened his bag, there was a snake. But because he had paid sadaqah, that sadaqah stopped that normal process of being bitten by that snake. If he had not paid sadaqah, he would have died. So this is not a mistake by the Prophet. This was indeed perhaps to teach people that it's possible that something is going to happen, but you do some good work and you override what was going to happen. Indeed, many problems that happen in Akhir Zaman can be avoided. Most of people in Akhir Zaman die before they are necessarily destined to die. Before their ajal qat'i, before their fixed ajal, deadline, they die. Most of these accidents and these things can be avoided. So if people, pay sadaqah, if prayed, if they do saliyah rahim, their life can become much longer. Okay? So those who have access to Lawh Mahfuz Isbat, they may realize things that other people don't realize, but still that may not be final. But if it is in Lawh Mahfuz or Ummul Kitab, then it's decisive, it's final. Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, Min al-umur, I have quoted this from Al-Mizan, volume 11. Min al-umur, umurun mahtumatun kainatan la mahala. Some of the things are decisive, definitely they happen. وَمِنَ الْأُمُورِ أُمُورٌ مَوْقُوفَةٌ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. These are conditional. يُقَدِّمُ فِيهَا مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَمْحُو مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ مِنْهَا مَا يَشَاءُ. If Allah wants, He can make them earlier. Make them happen earlier. Or Allah can even remove them. Or can yuthbit, leave them to be there. Okay? So some of the things are fixed and some of the things are conditional. There is a hadith from Imam Zainul Abidin which is narrated in Nur al-Thaqalain, Tafsir Nur al-Thaqalain. Imam Zainul Abidin says, لولا آية في كتاب الله لحدثتكم بما كان وما يكون إلى يوم القيامة. If it was not that this verse, there is a verse in the Quran that stops me doing this, I was able to inform you about anything that has happened or is going to happen till day of judgment. فَقُلْتُ لَهُ أَيَّةُ آيَةٍ. The narrator says, I told Imam, which verse? Imam said, قَالَ اللَّهِ يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam also says, this is also in Al-Mizan, لأغرن عينيك بتفسيرها ولأغرن عين أمتي بعدي بتفسيرها. I am going to interpret for you this verse, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ, in the way that your eyes become, full of joy, and everyone in my ummah later, as-sadaqatu ala wajhaha. If you give charity in its proper way, ala wajhaha, in a proper place, in a proper way. وَبِرُّ الْوَالِدَيْنِ, if you are kind to your parents. وَاسْتِنَاعُ الْمَعْرُوفِ, you do good things. يُحَوِّلُ الشِّقَاءَ سَعَادَةً, then this can change misfortune to fortune. If someone was going to suffer and to be, not happy, these things can change. وَيَزِيدُ فِي الْعُمْرِ, and these things can prolong your life. وَيَقِي مَصَارِعَ السُّوءِ, and would protect you from bad and unpleasant types of death, or being, for example, trapped with difficult things. But mostly masara here means death. It's most likely it means death. So many tragic types of death would not happen if you do these things. So this is very important to learn, that you can do good things to change. In one of the du'as in the months of Ramadan, we have this dua, this passage. وَإِن كُنْتُ فِي الْأَشْقِيَاءِ فَامْحُنِي مِنَ الْأَشْقِيَاءِ. Sorry, I'm not sure. It's فِي الْأَشْقِيَاء or مِنَ الْأَشْقِيَاء. I make it out. I cannot read my own writing. فَامْحُنِي مِنَ الْأَشْقِيَاءِ وَاكْتُبْنِي مِنَ السُّعَدَاءِ. Maybe today my list is among those who are shaqi, who are not happy or unhappy. Means they don't have salvation, they don't have felicity. Yeah, they are bad people. But please remove my name and put my name in the list of people who have happiness and salvation. It's possible. Because it's not necessarily fixed. You can change.
The Sunnah also related this dua. You cited this dua.
Yeah. There is also a story in Biharul Anwar from Amali by Saduq, that the Prophet Isa alayhi salam, in the night of wedding, said that this woman who is going to be, whose wedding was there at that night, says she's going to die. But she didn't die. Then Prophet Isa asked her, did you pay sadaqah? She said yes. And Prophet Isa said, sadaqah can remove and block those calamities which are even decided. Decided not in the sense that they are decisive. It means that it was decided to happen that night, but this changed. A new factor came and changed. Like, for example, I am ill, and if my condition remains as it is, I am going to die. Definitely. If my condition is like this, but then something else comes, a dua or sadaqah or medicine, something, the situation is changed, so the conclusion, the outcome would be changed. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam in a hadith in Kafi says, one of the things that Allah tested and asked all the Prophet to be loyal to this was to believe in this idea that it's possible to change what is going to happen. ما بعث الله عز وجل نبيا حتى يأخذ عليه الثلاث خصال. Allah didn't raise any prophet, didn't appoint any prophet unless he asked him to believe in three things, or to have three qualities, three actions. One was al-iqrar bil-ubudiyyah, to confess, to admit that he is a servant of God and he must serve God. And second, وَخَلْعُ الْعَنْدَادِ, not to associate any partner to God. To believe in God, not to do shirk. And the third, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يُقَدِّمُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُؤَخِّرُ. Every prophet has to believe in this, that God can bring something earlier or can delay. So God is not retired. قالت اليهود يد الله مغلولة. God's hands are open. He is not retired. He is very active and he can make changes. So you should never be hopeless. No matter how much problems you have in your life, you have always to be hopeful. And at the same time, you have to be not proud. When things are going well and everyone is, encouraging you, praising you, you are, for example, strong, your body is okay, your money, everything is okay, there is possibility of change. So if you are in a good condition, don't become proud. If you are in bad condition, don't lose your hope. Don't become despaired. Always depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah can change things in the way that He wants, but He doesn't do this arbitrarily. You can learn how to make things happen in the way that benefit you. I don't know who was first who raised his hand.
Does Prophet have access to Kitab?
Pardon?
Does Prophet have access to Kitab?
Which prophet?
Prophet Muhammad, for example, Muhammad bin Bayt,
Yes.
or just Lawh Mahfuz? Because they have
They're the same. Kitab and Lawh Mahfuz are the same. No. Lawh Mahfuz spot is different from Lawh Kitab. Mahfuz spot is lower.
So Prophet has access to each of them.
All of them.
They have some verse in Quran that La ya'lamuha illa hu, or some other ayah like that.
Yeah. The same as, for example, about ghaib. We say no one knows ghaib other than Allah, but in other places says that those who are pleasing Allah, Allah lets them know. It means that no one knows independently from God, but God can give them access. The Quran itself says, La yamassuhu illa al-mutahharun. So you have to put all these verses together. If you take one verse, then you may think that no one has knowledge. But my understanding is this. I am maybe wrong, okay? I think it's not that the Prophet all the time has active knowledge of whatever is in Lawh Mahfuz. It's a matter of being able to access. So sometimes he just says something about what is in Lawh Mahfuz spot, and he doesn't want to know what is in Lawh Mahfuz. So it's not that he knows everything in a active and actual way all the time, but he has ability. If he wants, he can know. There are maybe very few things that Allah never discloses to anyone, like Ilm Sa'ah. Maybe Ilm Sa'ah no one knows. But other than that, those, few things, those who are purified, they know. Even we have, also this in hadith, that Allah says, La ukhfi alayhi khassata khalqi or ilma khassata khalqi. Allah will disclose the secrets to these people.
Just one verse not lets me to talk about any events.
Yeah.
So it means that if Imam has some kind of knowledge and some kind of access
Ah,
to the
yeah.
No,
It's a good question. Very good question. And a better answer. It doesn't mean that Imam doesn't know what is in Lawh Mahfuz. In my understanding, Imam is trying to say there must be a reason why Allah has put Lawh Mahfuz spot and Lawh Mahfuz. Because Allah doesn't want everything to be known in its final way. So to respect that, I also don't disclose to you what is in Lawh Mahfuz. Do you understand? Why Allah has Lawh Mahfuz spot? To respect that, we should not let people know everything in Lawh Mahfuz. Then the whole life would be disturbed. They cannot have normal life if they know what is going to be the final decision. No. People being what they are, normal people, not those who are purified. Normal people, if they know what is in Lawh Mahfuz, they cannot die, or they cannot live normal life. Their life, death, everything will be changed. If you know that, na'uzubillah, tomorrow you are dying, then your life would be different. You cannot have a normal, regular life. Or if you know that you are going to live for 100 years, you become lazy. Normal people cannot have regular life, ordinary life, if they know what is in Lawh Mahfuz. It's very dangerous for them. If, for example, you know that this person is going to kill you after 10 years, what you are going to do? Qaza wa Qadar is not stopping us from being free. So there are different possibilities. There are different routes. If you go that way, that is the end result. If you go this way, that is the end result. Okay? And all of them are in Lawh Mahfuz spot. But there is one that is finally going to happen. That one is in Lawh Mahfuz. The one that is going definitely to happen. It is there in Lawh Mahfuz spot, but in Lawh Mahfuz spot you cannot realize it is the final or not, because there are also many other options. So you have to always do your best and try to be active, try to be creative. Don't say this is qaza, this is fixed, this is written in Lawh Mahfuz, I cannot change it. No. Everything depends on your also active role. And the result of your active role is there. Not that there is something written there and whether you like it or not, it's going to happen.
What is the role of Taqdeer this way? If you believe you can change everything.
You can change everything which affects your happiness, your eternal life. You cannot change, for example, your gender. You cannot change, for example, your age. You cannot change your, size, your, for example, face. But everything, pardon? Yeah. But you can affect on your eternal life. That is the main thing. No one can stop you be a mu'min or kafir. Even if they kill you, still you can be a mu'min. The maximum they can do is to kill you, to torture you, to prison you. You can still be a mu'min. This is important. But I become old, I become weak, I cannot fly, I cannot change my gender. These are not the things which are affecting my happiness in heaven. Everything that affects my happiness in heaven, it's in my hand. And no one has control. They can try to create problems or make it easier for me. But at the end, I have to decide.
For example, the person who is blind,
Yeah.
sure, he has some limitation in promotion of his belief.
No.
So why not? He has to recite the Quran.
A blind person,
Why not Quran?
indeed, this can be even helping him. Those who are blind and suffer on the day of judgment, they can be closer to God. Why?
The person who is blind, he cannot read the Quran.
Indeed, many people on the day of judgment wish they were blind. They say, no, we wish we were blind. Even they wish they were not there at all. Because when they see what they have done, they say, I wish I was not created, I was not born. Laytani lam taladni ummi. When you are talking about delaying and becoming, postponed, it's when you are looking from inside. When you are looking from outside, there is no sense of talking about delay. Delay is a relation for internal parts. When you are looking as a whole, there is no past, present, future. It's a holistic view. There is a verse in the Quran, in Surah Yunus, number 98. And this verse is very much encouraging. فَلَوْلَا كَانَتْ قَرْيَةٌ آمِنَةٌ فَنَفَعَتْ إِيمَانُهَا إِلَّا قَوْمَ يُونُسَ لما آمنوا كشفنا عنهم عذاب الخزي في الحياة الدنيا ومتعناهم إلى حين. Normally, unfortunately, people don't become alert, don't wake up, and they suffer and they are destroyed. But there was an exception here, and that is the people, the nation of Yunus. It is said that Prophet Yunus told them that you deserve punishment. And he left them because he didn't want to be there when they are going to be punished. Then there was a knowledgeable person who told people that I can see the punishment, the chastisement of God is coming. I can see the signs. So he brought them together and said we should all repent and pray to God. And they listened to him, and the azab which was just going to come was stopped. So it was going to come, and Prophet Yunus had left them, but they stopped. And Allah didn't say, it's too late. We have already, made the arrangements. Allah removed the azab.
What's the difference between this and Pharaoh, who at the end of
Pharaoh didn't even at the end really ask Allah. And therefore he said, Amantu bi ilahi Musa. He didn't say, I believe in God. He just, like for example, when two armies fight, and when one army sees that he's being defeated, he says, okay, I give up. But he gave up fighting. But he didn't really believe. If he had believed in God and had really wanted to return to God before seeing his death, that was possible. But if you see your death, it's too late.
they saw the death as well. They saw the punishment.
No, they didn't see the death. They saw the signs of punishment coming. It was before death. And they sincerely returned to God. Seeing the death means that you can see the departure from this dunya. Not just, for example, you see that in 1 hour you are going to die. Because even if you know that you are going to die in 1 hour, still you can be attached to this dunya. But when you see the other world, that's too late.
Before the Pharaoh had made a decision to repent. He made a real decision to repent to the God. So why Allah didn't give him opportunity to repent?
This is your problem. You have seen that hadith. No. There are many hadiths here. For example, there is hadith that God said to Musa, why you didn't help, Pharaoh? You didn't help him because you didn't create him. If he had asked me to help, I would have helped him. These hadiths are there, but they don't contradict what I said. If he had gone to Allah himself and asked for tawbah, Allah would have accepted. But he asked Musa for help, or he said, I believed in God of Musa. Pardon?
When they prostrated at the time of the competition, they also said we believe in the God of Musa and Harun.
No, that's different. They said, La dhayra inna ila rabbina lamunqalibun. When he said, I'm going to crucify you, they said, no problem. We are returning to... sometimes I say, I believe in God of Abraham as a matter of respect and honor. Sometimes I don't believe in God of Abraham. But because Abraham is, going to kill me, I say, I believe in your God. Leave me. That's two different types. Yeah, and they said, Rabbana. Inna ila Rabbina lamunqalibun. Okay, so this story is very beautiful story. Story of the people of Yunus, alayhi salam. One of the things that we can also mention about the Quran is, in addition to touching the Quran, looking at the Quran. Looking at the Quran by itself is a great action. Yes.
Sorry, before you move on to the point. So, talking about touching the Quran, why do you bring this whole concept of Lawh Mahfuz and Father, just to explain that verse?
That side of Quran you need mutahharun, because we wanted to explain Kitab Maknoon and Bal Huwa Quran fi Lawh Mahfuz, so I talked about Lawh Mahfuz. So through Quran you can get access to Lawh Mahfuz. Looking at the Quran by itself is a very important action. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "An-nadharu fil mushaf min ghayr qira'atin." If you look at mushaf, even without reciting, because you may say, okay, we look at the Quran to read and recite, and the reward is for recitation. No. Even if you don't recite and just look at the Quran, ibadatun. An-nadharu fil mushaf min ghayr qira'atin ibadatun. And if you recite, it would be additional, because you can recite by heart. Yeah? Recitation is one action, looking is another action. If you look and recite, so you do two actions. Okay? Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, yeah.
Another pillar something, another piece something. Another piece something, I think it's to think about, contemplate. Another pillar something is to look.
No, And no, and nazara fi means because it's a book, you can look into it. It doesn't mean to reflect on this, because if you want to reflect, you have to read.
Because we have in this we have hadiths, النظر إلى الكعبة عبادة، النظر إلى الوالدين عبادة.
No problem.
النظر في القرآن
Because it's a book.
No, on the contrary, hadith says النظر في ثلاثة أشياء عبادة. النظر في وجه الوالدين وفي المصحف وفي البحر.
Yeah.
So it is the same.
It's not.
It's not like that.
Explaining.
No. Nazar fi can mean looking.
النظر في وجه الوالدين is not thinking.
Yeah. It is true that sometimes nazar fi means to reflect, but it's not always like that. Look at this beautiful hadith. Are you ready? Okay. Ayatul Quran khaza'in. These are treasures. فَكُلَّمَا فُتِحَتْ خزانه ينبغي لك أن تنظر ما فيها. It's a treasure. When it is opened, you must look at it. You know, like for example, if there is a very valuable masterpiece in art, and they show it only once in a year or once in 10 years. They say, you know, only, for example, 1st January every year or in every 10 years, you can come and see. So when there is a chance and they give you access, you have to go and see. Quran is a treasure, but because we can easily always, you know, look at the Quran, we underestimate. If Allah, you know, had asked us to wait every 1 year to look at the Quran, then we would better appreciate the Quran. You know, it's like one alim. If there is an alim that you can every day see him, you don't appreciate. But if there is alim that you have to wait and, you know, make appointment, then it's, oh, we should go and see this alim. Pardon? Like the Prophet. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من أدام النظر في المصحف من أدام النظر في المصحف متع ببصره ما دام في الدنيا. متع means he would benefit, he would enjoy. If you look at the Quran for a long period, okay, if you keep looking at the Quran, your vision, your eye vision, your sight would be blessed. And as long as you're in dunya, inshallah, you would be able to benefit from your eyes. Of course, if other problems don't happen, you know, not that you look at the Quran and do something which is harmful. Looking at the Quran is good even for your eyes, let alone for the eyes of the heart. It's good for the eyes of the heart, but even for these eyes, looking at the Quran is very helpful. There is another, pardon? This is Kanzul Ummal. But there is something similar from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. But that is about recitation. Man qara al-Quran fil mushaf means you look at it, not just recite it. If you look at it and recite, mutta'a bi basarih. Wa khuffifa an walidayh wa in kana kafirain. The one who reads the Quran by looking at the Quran, not just by heart. Even if his parents are kafir, their punishment would be reduced. To encourage people to do more recitation of the Quran. So if you want to benefit your parents, recite the Quran by looking. Pardon?
reflection and thinking on Quran is more
We are talking about that. No, we are a step by step.
Islam gives more attention to the recitation.
Because recitation is a step towards understanding the Quran. And Quran is a book to be understood, not a book just to look at. But I'm saying that if you look at Quran, even without recitation, by itself is ibadah. If you look at the Quran and recite, this is better. But nothing is like acting according to Quran. If you act according to Quran, it's the best thing. But this book is so powerful that even if you look at it, you can benefit. Yes.
To just have it by heart, read it by heart, to write it down and have many copies of Quran.
Indirectly, yes.
Excuse me, in this matter, we can't, we shouldn't attention to the authenticity of the hadith.
Because this is narrated by Sunni, Shia, all the same, and there are many hadiths about this. So, yeah, there is another hadith again. قراءة القرآن في المصحف تخفف العذاب عن الوالدين ولو كانا كافرين. No problem. Because it is not something controversial or strange. Any good action of a child that can help the parents. Yeah? If you do istighfar, if you do sadaqah for them, inshallah can help. But this is in particular, of course. No, that's another issue. You asking for forgiveness, it's not possible. But doing something good for them, even if they themselves do something good, would help them.
Do something good for them, kind of asking them directly.
No.
It's not necessary to say by your time.
No. Okay, you start another discussion. If someone's father is kafir, can he ask God, please guide my father? No? Yes. Can he say, oh God, please reduce his punishment? Yes. There's no problem. Yes, he cannot say, oh God, my father, being kafir, please, don't punish him. That is the problem. But if you say, please guide him and then forgive him, that's not the problem. Okay, so you have to be clever. Instead of asking forgiveness for him while he's kafir, say, please guide him and forgive him. It's very good.
You can say that the father is alive. But if he's...
Okay, this is when he's alive. When he's not alive, he cannot become mu'min, but you can pray to Allah, please reduce his punishment. That's not a problem.
We believe that...
You cannot make him mu'min after he dies. But you can ask Allah to reduce his punishment. You can ask Allah, please, help my father. It's possible.
Can you say there's a whole change even in Barzakh?
Pardon?
There's a whole changing.
From Iman to Kufr? No. Kufr to Iman? No. Neither Iman to Kufr nor Kufr to Iman. After one dies, this cannot change. Perfection is different, but this is a big thing, to change from kufr to iman or iman to kufr after you die is too big. It's big change. But for example, receiving more reward, or reduction from your punishment, this is possible. Forgiveness is possible. But to change from mu'min to kafir or kafir to mu'min is a very radical change. Yes.
Nowadays with technology, a lot of people use like cell phone. Is that, is it like?
Yeah, this is a good question. If, for example, the Quran is on a screen, does it have the same impact? Pardon? What is the view of ulama here?
When you recite it, no difference between
Some of them
They
said
can
yes.
Pardon?
Some of them said yes.
No argument. What's the argument?
And he has some counterexamples.
What?
You said that reciting Quran a lot helps your eyes, yeah? But we see that Ayatollah Mahfad, Ayatollah Jawadi, they hear glasses.
No, it's not because they read Quran.
They recite Quran a lot.
No. I said, depending on other things which are harmful or not done. Sometimes people, for example, read a lot other books, or for example, maybe they have some illnesses. That is another issue. If everything is equal, so if you have the same life, the same lifestyle, everything is the same, but you have two people, one of them reads more Quran, the other one less, the first person would have better eye vision. Everything being equal. Yes.
I or ear or something is here. I thought Jawadi once said that I hear in this means spiritual eye or ear. As for example, Allahumma azadni halawata dhikrik. It doesn't mean by your tongue you can taste the sweetness of the dhikr.
This is khilaf al-zahir. Mutta'ab basareh. It's very unlikely to say mutta'ab basareh means the eye of the heart. Yeah.
We are interpreting this hadith by the physical and material view.
No, we are following ma'na zahiri. Al-ma'na zahiri, the basar is what? You have to prove that basar here doesn't mean what normally people understand. Otherwise, what I am saying is according to the general rule. What you say has to be proved. Pardon? Yeah. Even before that. When Allah had conversation with the angels, that was also Zahir. Yeah. Yeah.
For example, Ayatollah Jawadi said that in the month of Ramadan, we say you are invited to the Ziyafatullah.
Okay.
Ayatollah Jawadi said that Ziyafat means when you are invited to the Ziyafat, you have to eat, you have to drink. But why you are invited to the Ziyafat of Allah, but you are not allowed to drink, you are not allowed to eat.
Oh, that's another issue.
Ayatollah Jawadi said, when you are invited to the Ziyafat of Allah, you have to close your physical mouth. When you close it, your inner mouth open in the Ambasti Dahani Basho. And you will enter to the spiritual Ziyafat of Allah. So Ayatollah Jawadi said that when you close your eyes, maybe your inner side opens.
I don't have problem with this. I'm saying in this particular case, you have to prove that this is not meant. Al-ma'na zahir is not meant. Otherwise, I love Ayatollah Jawadi and I accept his. Yeah, that one it's clear that ziyafa, even I myself have had lectures. What is that ziyafa? And what is the concept of ziyafa? That's another issue. But here, there is no reason why. Indeed, it's very unlikely. I personally think it's very clear that this is the physical eye. It's very much, likely. Because it says, مُتَّعَ بِبَصَرِهِ مَا دَامَ فِي الدُّنْيَا. If it was the spiritual eye, why it says مَا دَامَ فِي الدُّنْيا? Huh? Pardon?
Maybe he means by Muttah something else.
Let me bring one proof.
Yeah.
One clergyman said that النظر إلى Kaaba, looking to the Kaaba, brings to your eye light and sight. And he claimed that most of the Saudi people, they haven't glass in their eyes. That was most your audience and address of his lecture in that. Because most of them see many students, they have a class or maybe bigger class than us. So in fact, it shows that the eye here is spiritual eye.
No, no. You know, I said this is one factor. There are also other factors. If you don't do anything harmful, if you genetically don't have problem,
They exaggerate taking shower.
yeah. So sometimes there are other things that affect. But everything being equal, this has the quality of helping and strengthening your vision. But not that, okay, tomorrow we close all the, for example, eye hospitals, everything, and just we give people, Quran to look at this.
What was your opinion?
Pardon?
For the question that I asked, what is your opinion on that?
What was your question?
About the Quran and new gadgets, technology.
Yeah, I asked ulama, what is their view? What is the view of ulama? Then I am not sure. It seems that some of the benefits of looking at the Quran must be here as well, because you are seeing the words of God, and these words of God can over time be written by different types of ink on different types of paper. What is important is to see the words which convey the message of God. So I think it should be the same, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe when those are written and they remain, they have more impact, because when it's on the screen, it's there and then it goes away. When it is written by ink, it is always there. But I'm not sure. No, when you look at photo, you are not looking at Kaaba. But the word is the word. What is the difference? Yeah, but you are seeing the words. If you want to be very literal, Mullah Lughati, and just follow the words, you can say this is not Mus'haf. Because it must be on the paper.
Camels' bones.
Yeah, it was permanently written. Okay? But for example, if you write Quran on water, and then you look at it. So this is something in between. Between writing Quran on water and writing on something permanent. So, I am not 100% sure.
Keep your books on.
But for sure, it's better better than not reading even on the screen, because sometimes we don't read here and then we read something else. So it's better to read Quran.
So if you run on tablets on a stone, it will be better, because the permanence is no longer on the pages. And the papers are not going to be forever.
Not forever. I didn't say eternity, but at least it remains for some time.
The focus is on Nawab, looking, not Quran being.
No. You know what I'm trying to say is that when it remains as a word of God, so that paper is something which is dedicated to God. You don't do something else on that. This is what I'm trying to suggest. If I write on these pages some verses of the Quran, okay? So it's somehow dedicated to God. But if every minute I put something, now is Quran, and after 1 minute it's a story, and after another minute it's a picture, it's a different experience. But I'm not saying 100%, but I'm saying at least it's preferable if we use something which is fixed and dedicated to God. You don't use it for other things.
Could you compare this with when they say, for example, when you touch the Quran, you have to be
you have a cover on the copy, on the paper, you can touch it because we don't use a cover.
So it's better to look at it without that.
No,
Because they don't want to extend that fatwa into these type of things. Otherwise, for example, if the light is really on the surface of the screen, then can you touch it? So it's not because it's inside. I think it's because they don't find it the same, and they need reason to say that these are the same. So kullu shay'in laka halal unless you know that this is haram. So I think that is the idea. So looking at the Quran is very important. Then recitation of the Quran, and especially recitation by reading. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم this is my note. Please check yourself because maybe I made mistake. But this is what I have written. القراءة في المصحف أفضل من القراءة. I don't know. It's ظهرا or ظاهرا. ظاهرا. I have ظاهرا. Yeah. I was not sure I have written correctly or not. ظاهرا because I've written this in months of Ramadan. It's a long time ago. القراءة في المصحف أفضل من القراءة ظاهرا. So if you read from the text, it's better than reading. Zahir means from your heart. Yeah. عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام Imam Sadiq عليه السلام قلت له جعلت فداك. May I be your ransom. إني أحفظ القرآن على ظهر قلبي. I memorize the Quran by my heart. فأقرأه على ظهر قلبي أفضل أو أنظر في المصحف. So because I am a memorizer of the Quran, is it better to read by memory or to look at the Mus'haf and read? فقال لي بل اقرأه وانظر في المصحف فهو أفضل. أما علمت أن النظر في المصحف عبادة. It's better if you look at the Mus'haf. I think there is also another advantage. Because if you always keep reading by memory, then you also may make mistakes. Sometimes, over time, you may make mistakes and this mistake remains. But this is one advantage. The main thing is that this is by itself ibadah. Abu Basir asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam about reading from Mus'haf without wuzu. Imam says it's not a problem, but he shouldn't touch the Quran. سألت أبا عبد الله عليه السلام أمن قرأ في المصحف وهو على غير وضوء قال لا بأس ولا يمس الكتاب. He shouldn't touch the book, but that's not a problem. So even if you don't have wuzu, you can read, you can recite the Quran, but of course it's better to have. Something very important is that we are recommended to recite the Quran in our home, not only in the mosque or haram. There's beautiful hadith which says, نَوِّرُوا بُيُوتَكُمْ بِتِلَاوَةِ الْقُرْآنِ وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوهَا قُبُورًا. Don't make your home like graveyards. When Quran is not read, it's a graveyard. It's like a cemetery. And I have it somewhere else. Inshallah, I find it sometime, or maybe you can find it quickly. That then the hadith says, the people of the book, They did all their ibadah, everything in their, for example, church or synagogue. They didn't do any ibadah in their house. You shouldn't do the same mistake. You do some ibadah at home, some ibadah in the mosque. Not that every time you want to recite Quran, go to the mosque. Because your house, when Quran is recited, becomes blessed, and shaitan would not be able to harm you in the way that he can harm if Quran is not recited there. So part of ibadah. Therefore, normally nawafil should be recited at home. It's and furada, not jama'ah. Yeah, nawafil should not be recited jama'ah, should be recited furada, and perhaps the one reason is to be recited at home. You do it at home and part of it in mosque. Yes.
Why is it that I've heard some lecture when you're praying, you cannot actually look at the Quran and actually makruh to look at it and to hold the book and recite from there? Is that true?
I didn't hear this.
So you can actually hold the Quran with above?
I think so. Pardon? In wajib salat, if you look at the Quran, what is the problem? Someone wants to recite, for example, a long chapter in his salat, Surah Waqi'ah. So you can look at the Quran for it. What is the problem? Pardon?
I heard something like that.
Really? No, I think that's another problem. No, he says you cannot.
I think holding the Quran in front of you.
Okay, what's the problem?
I'll check again.
Yeah, please check again. What is important, you should not do it in the way that the form of salat is damaged. That people think, oh, this man is reciting the Quran, not saying prayer. That is another issue. The hayat of salat must not be damaged. If the hayat of salat is not damaged and you are reciting, I don't think there is a problem. But in all these things that we are saying, everyone should check his marja. We are discussing it not as a fiqhi approach. So when, yes. No, وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوهَا مِنْ بُيُوتَكُمْ قُبُورًا نَوِّرُوا بُيُوتَكُمْ بِتِلَاوَةِ الْقُرْآنِ وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوهَا قُبُورًا. Did you find the rest of hadith? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.